Cecilia always feels like someone is sitting on the empty sofa right in front of her. She tests it by throwing a bedsheet over and sighs with relief when nothing happens, leaning down to pick it up. But then, things get creepy. The featherlight sheet is dead, stuck to the floor, completely unmovable no matter how hard she pulls. It's like an invisible force is stepping on it. The pulled sheet starts collapsing under heavy footsteps, as if a pair of invisible giant feet is walking straight toward her. Scared out of her mind, Cecilia screams for her friend.
James! James!
James rushes in completely clueless. There is only a regular sheet on the floor and absolutely nobody else in the room. He is positive Cecilia is just hallucinating. After some comforting, Cecilia manages to calm down, starting to believe her eyes are just playing tricks on her. But the next day, the sedative that mysteriously vanished suddenly appears in the most obvious spot. Someone definitely put it there on purpose. This completely shocks Cecilia because just a while ago on that fateful night, she used this exact bottle to drug her abusive husband, Adrian. After knocking him out, she slipped out of the room, hurried over to the walk-in closet, and grabbed the bag she packed ahead of time. Before leaving, she intentionally pointed the camera right at the head of the bed to monitor if her husband woke up while she was on the run. This mega mansion spans over 1,000 square meters and she does not want to stay a single second longer. In the dead silence of 3 in the morning, her heart pounding, she walks to the computer to shut down 10 security alarms. Because if a motion triggers a clip, the ear-splitting alarm will wake her husband up and her escape plan will be dead in the water. Luckily, she stayed one step ahead and didn't wake him. She then sneaks into Adrian's lab to kill all surveillance, catching sight of a mysterious empty mannequin stand. Finally, she slips past the garage to the outside. Just as she is about to make it out, she gets a creepy feeling that something is staring daggers at her back. After hesitating, she reaches out to take the shock collar off her dog, but accidentally triggers a noise, completely blowing her cover. Ignoring the monitors, she runs for her life, scales a 2-meter wall, and bursts onto the highway. Luckily, her sister Emily arrives just in time to pick her up.
Go.
Open the fucking
What is happening?
door! Cecilia, open the door!
The most terrifying part about her hyper-controlling psycho husband Adrian is knowing he's right next to you, but you can't see him, leaving you totally traumatized. Even though she escaped and is crashing at her friend James's house, Cecilia still feels like that invisible ghost is following her every move. Helpless, she goes with James to find her husband's biological brother, Tom, hoping he can play middleman and beg her husband to let her go. But Tom drops a total bombshell. Adrian committed suicide a few days ago, and his death is already trending everywhere. To make her believe it, Tom pulls out death photos to prove it's 100% real, encouraging her to stop living in the shadows and face reality. Overjoyed, Cecilia can't wait to share the good news with her sister, Emily. But the second they meet, her sister's face is stone cold. Emily announces she's cutting ties with her.
What? Thanks so much for carving out the time to let me know how quote-unquote.
Please, no.
Back home, Cecilia opens her laptop only to find that her own account sent her sister an ultra-toxic, insulting email, cursing her to drop dead. No wonder her sister suddenly flipped with such heartless, vicious words, but she never sent that email. Someone is impersonating her in the dark. While she is crying, James's daughter, Sydney, sweetly comes over to comfort her. But the next second, Sydney gets violently blasted right in the face. Since they are the only 2 people in the room, a stunned Sydney instinctively assumes Cecilia did it. Seeing his daughter bleeding, a rushing James clearly chooses to believe his kid, leaving Cecilia with absolutely zero way to clear her name. The creepy moment wins Cecilia's nerves tight again, bringing back that familiar deadly suffocation in the air.
Come on! Come on out! Don't hit a little girl! Hit me!
This time, Cecilia runs into the kitchen and covers the floor with coffee grounds. If anything gets close, it will leave footprints, exposing the invisible man's location. She hides in the furthest corner, staring daggers at the doorway. But hours fly by, and even after dark, there is absolute zero movement around. Right then, Cecilia decides to dial Adrian's phone number, and a piercing ringtone echoes right from the attic above her head. She sets up a ladder and climbs into the attic following the sound. Not only does she find the phone, but the screen is packed with secret photos of her. Immediately after, a mocking text hits the phone. The guy clearly baited her up here on purpose, leaving her totally trapped in the attic. Cecilia stares at the exit in terror. In a flash, a creepy, monster-like silhouette darts past and instantly vanishes. She tracks him to the kitchen only to find he already washed the paint off his body. Though invisible to the naked eye, the intense pressure in the air proves he is right beside her. Cecilia snatches a shovel from a drawer and swings blindly, hitting him, but right when she tries to run, an invisible force slams her violently to the ground. This unseen, untouchable nightmare of getting attacked at any second leaves her completely helpless. She grabs a nearby plate and hurls it wildly into the empty space. The The plate strikes his head on pure instinct, allowing her to narrowly break free and escape the house. Now she fully realizes she walked right into her husband's trap. The whole world thinks he is dead, so he can use his invisibility to torture her with zero consequences. Completely flying under the radar, panicking, she takes a cab straight back to Adrian's luxury mansion. She has to find proof of the invisibility to show the world she isn't crazy, or else nobody will ever believe her. Arriving at the villa, she goes straight to the lab using their anniversary date password to open the mysterious stand. She walks up and hits the button, realizing the once empty stand actually holds a solid object. This is the invisible suit Adrian developed. Before she can even inspect it, her dog starts barking wildly. In a panic, she quickly pulls off the invisible suit and hides it securely in the closet. Then she ducks behind the door as a footprint stomps out of thin air onto the floor. With nowhere left to run, Cecilia fights for her life, busts through the empty space, and successfully escapes. After getting away, she quickly calls her sister Emily to clear up the misunderstanding, and they meet at a crowded restaurant. But before she can even explain, a steak knife flies into the air right in front of everyone. Completely stunned, Cecilia is framed for murdering her sister on the spot, locked up in an asylum, and injected with a sedative. Before the drug knocks her out, her husband's signature whisper echoes eerily in her ear, asking if she is surprised. The next day, during James's interrogation, a broken Cecilia swears up and down for him to shut up, claiming he is listening and he is right here in the room. This makes James even more sure she is insane. To make things more hopeless, the medical report reveals Cecilia is actually pregnant. Then Tom shows up oozing malice, threatening her with losing her inheritance and getting permanently committed, forcing her to have the baby and go back to Adrian. This completely confirms Adrian is indeed alive, and he even swapped out her birth control pills way before this.
Adrian killed my sister, and you helped him.
Fueled by absolute rage, Cecilia takes the chance to steal a pen. Staring at the heavy rain forecast on TV, she decisively slits her wrist in the bathroom to commit suicide. She yells that he will never get the baby, and he will never get her. Sure enough, an invisible silhouette steps in to stop her, and the invisible man finally shows his true form. The brutal sounds of the fight draw the guards in. Facing the super strength of the invisible man, the security team cannot even react before getting completely wiped out on the floor. At this point, Cecilia completely throws her life away and chases right after him. In the heavy rain, the damaged invisible suit glitches in and out of sight.
You think you're learning how to beat me, so I'm going to truly teach you something. If you fight me, I won't ever hurt you. I'll find someone you love and hurt them instead. Now you've only got yourself to blame for that innocent young girl's death.
No, please. Not Sydney.
Hold it! From your hand!
Terrified, Cecilia dials James's number, telling him to rush home and protect his daughter. When James storms back home, his daughter Sydney is on the brink of death, and even James gets knocked out cold with absolute ease. At the ultimate life or death second, Cecilia arrives at a full sprint, rushing out with a fire extinguisher, yelling at Sydney to get down, and fires several shots straight into the empty space. Shot after shot, the invisible man finally drops dead. Shaking, Cecilia rips off the mask, and the face underneath is actually his biological brother, Tom. At the same time, the police rescue a tied-up Adrian from the mansion's basement. The case gets quickly closed. Tom is the killer, and everyone else is a victim. But Cecilia is absolutely certain Adrian is pulling the strings from the shadows, and Tom was just a pathetic puppet under his control. She knows he did everything before, framing his own brother, but nobody will ever believe her. With nowhere left to hide, she takes the initiative to invite Adrian out for a meeting, telling James to wire up and listen to the whole thing right outside the villa. Facing his returning wife, Adrian is incredibly thrilled, acting warm and caring. He cooks a full table of food, expressing his hope for her to successfully have the baby. She tells him it means she needs him to admit everything he did, that it was him, not his brother. However, Adrian maintains a highly firm attitude, maintaining that though he loved his brother, he was truly a victim too. Cecilia is deeply saddened by her husband's denial until she hears his absolute final sentence, locking in her answer completely.
Because I know you better than anyone else in the world. That shouldn't come as a surprise.
This is Adrian's signature catchphrase. He is the killer, and they both know it damn well. Cecilia, left with no choice, can only crack a tiny smile, seemingly accepting the whole thing, then says she needs to go to the restroom to touch up her makeup. She leaves behind a smug Adrian, soaking in a toxic power trip of total control, staring at the empty seat across from him. But Cecilia stays gone for a long time. Right then, the security camera captures a full bizarre clip of Adrian grabbing a steak knife. The second he bleeds out completely, Cecilia times it perfectly, rushing out of the restroom to frantically dial 911 in fake grief. Stepping slowly out of the camera's view, she looks into the empty space and delivers a cold, slow whisper, asking if he is surprised. Turns out this whole setup happened because of that invisible suit she hid away in the mansion's closet earlier. This counterkill caught him completely off guard. Since the law cannot put an invisible suit on trial, she can absolutely become a vengeful ghost herself to save her own skin. When James rushes in and spots the invisible suit stashed in Cecilia's bag, he figures out everything in a heartbeat. He asks if she never even planned on getting him to confess on the recording.
Of course I did. I just didn't know he was that unstable. What'd it sound like to you?
It sounded a lot like he killed himself.